How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video, and it seems Ubisoft has once again managed to get into the headlines, and this time with a very strong-armed, badly worded, really badly backed up DRM kind of a message telling people that if they don't sign in once they've received a certain email, they will lose their account in every game. Now, this isn't unique to Ubisoft. A lot of companies do this, but Ubisoft is the first one I've seen in a long time actually come out and publicly say it. Well, they were actually called out originally and have been questioned about it, but each company has a set number of years of inactivity before they decide to close the accounts. Now, where I work with a lot of QA tools, and if I don't use them for 6 months, for example, they will actually issue an account termination, and that is a thing, right? When it comes to actual games, I assume the period of wait is going to be a hell of a lot longer. But I'm not sure what Ubisoft's is, maybe 2 years, 1 year, 3 years, or what Sony and Xbox's ones are, because they all have it. It just depends how long it is, because there is a thing called GDPR in Europe, which basically means that you're not allowed to hold on to data any longer than need be. And if it's no longer being used or used for purpose, well, that data is illegal to hold on to. So that could actually play into the whole account closure. But also, if they've got like millions of dormant accounts that have no usage for like 10 years, those email addresses or user accounts can be freed up, especially with the usernames. So it's a really tricky one, especially if you've actually paid for games. And that's where this whole console preservation, game preservation, physical versus digital, really comes into play and really takes on center stage, because if you've got the physical version of the game, you will never have this problem. But Ubisoft has decided to come out and be the first one, as always, to take the brunt. So it's an interesting one. It is one that's actually doing the rounds at the moment, and I think people are overreacting to a certain degree. I think it's really stupid. I think games should not do this. If the account has literally no games on there, then those accounts going up for closure, I think, is somewhat okay. But if you've got any paid for content on there, then if you are going to close that account, then you should at least email them the CD keys for those games, so they can, if they sign back up to Ubisoft's Uplay Connect or whatever it is, they can reactivate those games. But they're not doing that either. So they're actually handling this in the worst possible way. If you get that termination email and you do not respond, you lose everything. Even if you spent 10 grand on that account, you lose every single game. And this is the problem when it comes to digital gaming. If your Xbox Live account gets hacked, you lose everything that's on your Xbox Live account. If your PSN account gets hacked, you lose everything on your PSN account. It's really scary that this sort of thing can happen. The amount of times that I see people trying to access my Xbox Live account, and because I've got two-factor of almost like triple protection on mine, they have to get through like 2 walls before they can, and they try like on a regular basis. But if my account ever got compromised, I lose my email account, I lose my Xbox Live account, and there's going to be almost no way for me to recover this, because they're going to go in, change those details immediately, and that's it. It's going to be their word against mine. And I've seen it before where you can't win. They don't believe that you're the owner. And no matter what you're proving to them, they don't want to know, because they just don't care. You're just another number in the end. So this whole digital versus physical, honestly, it's really, really scary. And the conversation right now shouldn't be, oh, if we get this email after 5 years of inactivity, we can lose all our account. The conversation should be that there's really no way for us to reclaim anything should we lose the account to a foreclosure or to being hacked. And that's where I think it's worth diving into this. But first of all, I do want to jump into and just look at some of the tweets going around with Ubisoft before we dive into some of the more deeper aspects of this conversation, because it is something that I think needs talking about. So as you can see here, we've got Grums again, who I think he has some bad taste. But over here, Ubisoft is deleting your game within 30 days. That is entirely wrong. Once again, this dude is the king of misinformation. At this point, Elon really should do something about it. He is so bad at spreading misinformation. It is not, if you don't sign into your account for 30 days, you lose your games. If you don't sign into your account for 2 years, 5 years, whatever that period is, that's when you'll get the termination email, not 30 days. This dude is the king at misinformation. I really don't like him. All he does is spread hate and misinformation and likes to rile people up and cause, drama where there really shouldn't be any. Customer support sure got a nice account there. Would be a shame if something happened. Come on. This is just horrifying. Ubisoft confirmed that they will delete your account and purchase games if you go inactive for too long. This is what I've been saying. If your account is inactive for so long, and I think at this point there should be like a middle ground where if your account is being closed, you should be sent CD keys for those games. So if you ever recreate an account back, you can claim those games back and start your process again. I mean, why should they delete it in the first place? Well, unfortunately, people who pass away, it's tragic. People just stop playing video games, and those accounts stay dormant forever. And people that want to use those usernames, it's a thing, right? I'm not saying that it still gives them a right to remove that data, but with GDPR, especially in Europe, this is a problem because they can't hold on to information any longer than they actually deem useful. And if no one is using that account, it means it's a dead account. It's no longer in use. Therefore, it's illegal in Europe to hold such data. They can receive enormous amounts of fines. So it's a kind of touch-22 here. Yeah, but Grums, he's really, really bad. But I do want to take this point where if you are enjoying this content, I know it's most of you came here for the ABK news, and I'm appreciative of the support you're showing me for other content that I'm doing on this channel. Do consider leaving a like, a subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It really helps the channel grow. It really helps with the algorithm and getting recommended to other users. And just know that I really appreciate all your support. Thank you so much. On with the video. So as we can see here, hey there, we just wanted to chime in that you can avoid the account closure by logging into your account within 30 days since receiving the email pictured and selecting the cancel account closure link contained in the email. We certainly do not want you to lose access to your games or account. If you have any difficulties logging in, then please create a support case with us. Now, as you can see here on the right, readers added context they thought people might want to know. Ubisoft is required under GDPR to delete personal information if retention is deemed no longer necessary. And this is the point I was making. GDPR is a EU sanction. It's a legal requirement. They cannot not do this. If I'm not using that data and they have my data and they are holding onto my data, they can be fined thousands, if not millions of dollars, of pounds, of euros, whatever currency you want to use. So it's literally illegal, 100% illegal for them to hold on to that data. So by them issuing you a 30-day notice, they're giving you a chance to log into it to save your data. Now, the problem that they haven't actually been able to resolve is what happens to those games. I think a CD key should be sent to the account, and if they want to recreate the account, then they can use those CD keys to re-get the games they've already paid for. Ubisoft's international terms of service indicates accounts may be deleted after 6 months of inactivity. So there you have it. It's not 2 or 3 years, it's 6 months. So all you need to do is sign into your account once every 6 months, or play a Ubisoft game once every 6 months. As long as you sign in once every 6 months, your account is fine. But it is a law. It is under, global law. Well, GDPR isn't, I don't think, is recognized in the Middle East. I think it might be recognized in the US. I know it's definitely a European and UK thing. But it's a law that they have to abide by. So it's not entirely their fault or doing. But like I said, people are really jumping the gun. Someone got an email stating that their Ubisoft account may get deleted unless they click on the link or log in with a certain time. Ubisoft support confirmed that their email is real. It's real, but it's not their fault. Microsoft will do the same. Sony will do the same. If you don't log into your Xboxes, or don't log into your PlayStations, or don't log into your Switch, there is a chance that you can lose your account. It's scary, I know. It's really scary, especially when it comes to Xbox and PlayStation, considering how much, because those are actual console platforms, how much you actually invest in them. But the chances of you not using your console for 6 months or a year, because each company has a different, like where I work, holding on to data, we do it for anywhere between 1 month and 3 months, depending on the use case scenario. And each company has a use case scenario for holding on to data. And that period is never the same for any company. For Sony, it might be a year. For Microsoft, it might be 3 years for their use case. Whatever it is going around, Ubisoft clearly is 6 months. And as far as they're concerned, if you're not logging into the account after 6 months under GDPR ruling, they have to get rid of it. But it's really scary because as they're doing this, you lose a lot of your stuff. Now, this also goes hand in hand with, like, if your account gets hacked, you lose everything. Like, I was fortunate when my Ubisoft account got hacked. I got a notification that someone changed my password. And I immediately went in because they hadn't changed the email address yet. And immediately done a forgotten password, changed the password, and then added my 2-factor authentication because I thought I added it and I didn't. And it's been secure ever since. But that was really scary because I would have lost everything on that account. There's no way for me to reclaim it. I can't really prove that account is mine once they change the email address. My friend lost his Final Fantasy XI account. It's an online MMO. He was sharing it with his friend, but because he didn't remember the password, 4 years or 5 years of his gaming life went down the drain. So it's really hard to recover an account if the details have been changed. So this is another reason why physicals are just a better option when you're buying games, because I've gone full digital personally because it's just a lot more convenient for me, and I also get codes from publishers, and they're always going to be digital now, and it's just a simpler transaction. But it really does make you think. Now, this situation with Ubisoft, is it really as big as, is it really the drama that people are saying it is? It's not nice. I'm not saying it's nice, but is it the drama? Is it like the overblown situation that people are making out it is? Like, I've seen other content creators losing their minds and really, really having a go at Ubisoft, but what they don't understand, it's a legal requirement. And for that reason, yes, this is absolutely horrible. But what none of these people here are telling you is that you need to access your account at least once every 6 months. Even if you're doing it from your mobile app, set yourself a reminder after 5 months to log into your app. As long as you do that once every 6 months, your account is fine. And sure, you shouldn't need to do that. And in the event that you don't do that, and your account does get closed, your purchases should be saved somewhere. So when you go to create another account, you can reclaim those purchases. So I think, there should be something in place for that. Currently, there is not. Currently, you lose everything. And I think that is where the problem is. And that is what this is all about. If you don't want people to lose access to games they had paid for, then don't delete their accounts. Simple. They cannot do that, Snyder Cut fan. Simply put, it's illegal. So, as much as I don't like Ubisoft, you need to go to your governments and complain to your governments for imposing this data protection law in place, because what's happened in the past is companies have held on to your data for longer than necessary, and they hold on to that data for years because they can, and then they use that data to make money off. Now, under GDPR, especially at least in Europe and the UK, they can impose sanctions. And if a company is holding on to information longer than is necessary, and an audit takes place, like an ISO audit, and then they get caught with it, the fines that they will get is unprecedented. The bad publicity they'll get from this is unprecedented. No one wants to be in that position. So I think it's a bad situation, and this is just another reason why, physicals, in my opinion, are still the way to go if you care about holding on to your games and game preservation. But in the end, this isn't a Ubisoft problem. This is a global problem. Maybe not in the Middle East and the US, but in general, at least in the European countries, it's a problem. And GDPR is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's there to safeguard you and me. But there are clearly issues here that are being inflicted by it adversely. So is it a bad thing that Ubisoft has actually come out with this? I think what they need to do, and what all companies need to do, Sony, Microsoft, Ubisoft, Capcom, now that they've got their profile set up, all of them, anyone that has, a portal that you can download games onto their platform, what they need to do is come out and say, what is the inactive period? How long you have to that period? So Ubisoft is 6 months. Microsoft, whatever it is, could be a year. Sony could be 2 years. Whatever that period is, I think all of them need to come out and make that very, very, very clear. So we all know where we stand, because this isn't something that's going to change. This isn't something that's going to go away. This is something that's going to be here. So the sooner we know that information, the better. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, because this is a really, really important topic, and I hope that a lot of you do understand where I'm coming from. But also, if you haven't protected your accounts with two-factor authentication, please do, because having your account hacked, losing your account, trust me, it was like the dread I've never felt before when I saw my account getting hacked, and no one wants to go through that. No one wants to lose any of their PSN accounts or their Xbox accounts or Nintendo accounts, Capcom accounts, Square Enix accounts, whatever it is. None of you want to lose that. So make sure you are as secure as possible, because people will always try to get into those accounts because they want a freebie and they want to use those accounts and sell them off. It's just the way it is. But with this situation with Ubisoft, this isn't a Ubisoft thing. But at least now we know that the period is 6 months, and they give you 30 days after that. So you get 7 months in total to log in at least once into your Ubisoft account. And that's all it takes to reset this. It's like in Final Fantasy 14. I've got a house in Final Fantasy 14. If I don't sign into my house for 3 months, I lose that house in game and it goes back on sale. I get an email after 3 months, I think it is, to say that, I've not logged into the game, I've not logged into the house at all. And if I don't log in the next 14 days, I'm going to lose I'm going to lose the property, all the stuff, and it will just go back on sale. So, even in video games, like inside the video games, this is happening. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. It has been a massive, blown out of proportion situation. Anyway, that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Remain legend.